Hello friends, this is Shelley. So glad you are joining me in this tutorial. We are going to make these cute little baby Yip Yips. Now, I will tell you right off the hop that there is a crochet pattern for this out there. You have to look for it because I don't know whose it is. A friend sent me a picture of one of these and said, you should make these. And I was on it like as quick as I could because I think they are so, so adorable. I have a large Yip Yip on my channel that has been very, very popular. So I thought this would be nice to add to the collection. Like, look at them just blowing in the wind. You're going to want to make this pattern. You're going to use your 22 needle machine. I used Bernat premium yarn for all three of these, and the colors are coral peach, purple, and yellow balloon. Aren't they just like so adorable? You can use these for like so many things. Fill them with your coins. Fill them with put your receipts in here. I don't know, put your glasses in there at night. Put in the comments what you would use them for. I just think they're so cute, and I'm very, very thrilled to bring them to you. So grab your supplies, get your machine, and let's quickly get into it. Be sure to like and subscribe. Please subscribe, people. I would really appreciate that. And come on over to my Facebook channel and our group and show me the ones that you make. I can't wait to see. It's such a fun project. All right, have fun. All right, friends, to begin this project, you're going to take a waste yarn, a color of yarn that's a contrasting color to what your working yarn is, so that when we want to close the ends, we can easily see the stitches. We're going to bring the last white and the first black in line with our yarn feeder, and we're going to cast on. You're going to go in front of that first black and then behind, in front and behind, all the way around. Just letting that yarn slip through your fingers. Don't do it too tight or you'll have a hard time with your first row. And we're going to open that yarn feeder. Pop that in there, and you're going to knit as many rows as what you're comfortable knitting. For waste yarn, I always do 7. Probably wouldn't need to do quite as many, but that's what I do. Okay, I think this is 4, 5. If you haven't taken a black permanent marker and mark that red divider that's between your last white and your first black, go ahead and do that, because then you can see when it's coming around and you know you're at the end of your row. And it helps you out a lot, okay? So you're going to cut that waste yarn. You're going to open your feeder. You're going to pop that between the last white and the first black needle. Then you're going to grab your working yarn. But before we do that, let's set our counter to 0 so we don't forget, okay? We're going to pop that into our machine, just like that, in between the last white, the first black. Leave a little bit of a tail. I think we need it for sewing. I can't remember. I've made only one of these, but yeah, you need a little bit of a tail. And then we're going to knit 3 or 4 rows or needles, and you see how these little loops are over these red dividers? I help those down. Then I take both ends of my working yarn and I snug it up. That way my tension on my first few needles is always just as nice as the tension around the rest of my work. So we're going to keep knitting using the same color. Now I'm making this little guy solid, but you can divide it up into different colors, however you like, changing colors whenever you want. But we're going to do solid, and I'm going to knit straight like this for 48 rows. Just finishing off row 48, and I'm going to look for that black divider, put that in the front of my yarn guide. I'm going to cut my tail, open the latch, pop that between the last white and the first black. Then I'm going to grab my waste yarn again, pop that in there, and we're going to knit as many rows of waste yarn as what you are comfortable with knitting. I'm going to do 7 because that's what I always do, okay? But for this particular project, I'm going to cast off after I put my waste yarn on, so I really wouldn't need as many rows. When you're putting waste yarn on the end of your project, what happens when you take it off the machine? Like I would normally cut this tail, put it in between the last white and the first black, then I'd rotate my handle until my barrel went around twice, and it would loosen, it would let go of all these stitches, and I would have my piece off the machine. But then what that does is it easily unravels. One brilliant lady on my channel, in my YouTube channel. Under one of the videos, she made a comment. This was quite some time ago, actually. And so I can't remember her name. If that was you, thank you for that comment. She said, why don't you cast off like you normally would after you add waste yarn? I said, you know, that was just such an easy thing to do. And I never thought of it, not even once, but how brilliant. So maybe you never either. So we're going to cast off now. We're going to rotate our handle till that first stitch is available. Then we're going to, oops, look at that, I broke my needle. No worries, there's plenty more where that one came from. These are metal wool needles, and they have a little plastic tip on them, but after use, you use them, you know, enough times, this little plastic thing pulls out from the inside there. But still very much, very well worth it. So this one I almost lost because of that, but one little red tooth saved the day. This needle's thicker than the one that I usually use. Let's see if I can make it work. Okay. And we're going to just cast off. So you turn your handle till you have these stitches that are loose. And you pop them onto your needle. That way, it's going to hold your waste yarn and it's not going to unravel. And we're not going to be fighting with, you know, trying to save our project because the waste yarn is unraveling almost to your work and you're not finished doing what you need to do yet. So thank you for that little tip, my friend. And I hope that the rest of you find this helpful too. If I'm doing a waste yarn and I just have a quick little end to do and I don't have to put it aside or it's not going to take me long, then I don't think I would do this step. But if I'm going to be doing finicky work with it and I know that you know, I'm going to be fighting to keep it on there, then I will do this. And that little cord in there will save your waste yarn from unraveling your project piece, and you'll be so much more happy. So once you take that off your machine, you're going to stretch it widthwise and lengthwise, set it aside, and you're going to do one more panel like this, okay? So you're going to add your waste yarn, you're going to knit 34 rows, and then you're going to add your waste yarn again and cast off. And when you have that done, you will have this long piece and you'll have this shorter piece. This is 48 rows. This is 34 rows. Oh, this yarn color is just gorgeous. Okay. And so go ahead and complete both of those. And when you're done that, we'll move on to the next part of the video. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our bigger piece, the first one that we made that's longer, and we're going to take a needle. We're going to use this long yarn tail that we have, and you're going to need 4 stitch markers. Don't get scared about this. You can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. Okay, we're going to find the end. If you want to follow along exactly what I'm doing, then find the end where your yarn tail from your waste yarn is coming down and it's coming through this working loop right there. Okay, and we're going to stick a stitch marker in that loop that this yarn tail is going through. Then we're going to go to the left of it, and you'll see there's 2 just like that. Take the top one straight to the very left of your other stitch marker. Put those aside. Come on over to this side. And now your yarn tail from your waste yarn is going up. And you'll see that it's coming through this loop. So when you pull it back and then you pull it through like that, this is where you want to put your next stitch marker. And then again, you see your tail, it's coming out there. You're going to put your stitch marker right beside it. Okay, now we're going to take these 2 sides and we're going to fold this up. So make sure that your yarn tails are coming out and they're between your, this is a little tricky to get this started, but you can do it. I know you can. I know you can. Okay, fold down your waste yarn so you can see all those little loops like that. Do it on this side. You can see all those little loops. And we are going to put these 2 together. So it's like you've got it in half like this and you're going to put them together like this. But then I'm going to just put it up on its side so I can get at those. It's tricky to start. It is, I will admit. But once you get it going, it's a breeze, okay? You're going to take that long tail, you're going to put it on your needle. And you are going to Make sure these other tails are out. You're going to find the 2 stitch markers that are on the left, just like that, okay? We're going to take our yarn tail. We're going to pop it, just go underneath, pick up that stitch, just as though you're picking up that stitch, because that's exactly what you're doing. Except for these bobby pins are now going to get in my way. It's finicky to start, I'm not going to lie, because these little things get in your way. But I just went through that 1 stitch. Let me hold this straight. Through this 1 stitch where this bobby pin is attached to. I'm going to go over to where this bobby pin is attached to, and I'm going to go under that stitch. I'm going to do this slow so I don't get caught up in that bobby pin again, okay? So now here's the first stitch that we went through. We are going to go, you see, this is the very next stitch. You're going to go back into that first stitch and just go across and pick it up like it's a, you see the V on the bottom there? You just go through both like this. So now we've worked stitch 1 and 2. This is 3. So you're going to go through this one and number 3. You're going to pull that through. And you're going to put some tightness on it just to line it up with the tension of the other stitches. So count that as 3. This next stitch that we're going to work is 4, okay? But you're going to go in the previous stitch. That's this one. You're going to just pick these up just like that. You see the point of the V goes up. You're just going underneath both of them. So that's 4. You can take these bobby pins out very shortly. But let's just do one more. So that's 4. You're going to pull on that. Not too tight, but you want it to be the tension. I am going to take it out actually. Take these out because they're in my way. Don't need them anymore. They served their purpose. This is the stitch that we worked last on this row because you can see it's coming out there. You're going to go into that stitch and pick up the other one. So you see, that looks like the stitch right there. The point of the V is going down. So you're just going right across, picking the 2 up. Just like that. Coming back up to this one. This is where you came out. You can see that right there. You're going to just pick these 2 up like that. And if you push this down, you see the V is like that. So you're just picking this one up and picking that one up, going straight across. And you're just going to pull that up. You're going to keep going around just like that for every stitch. That's why you need to make sure your waste yarn. I started counting and then I lost count. But every time you pick up a stitch, you add. Okay, because we want to make sure that we work all 22 stitches. So we're going to go, this is where it's coming out of. We're going to pick it up just like that. Go through 2. And then on this next one, fold this over. You always see where your yarn tail is coming out of. It's coming out of this one here. So if you fold that in half like that so that it looks like a stitch, it's easier, then you just go right through if you need the visual. Pull that. This is the last stitch that I worked. If I want to fold that just so you can see the visual, this is where it's coming out. I'm just going to go under that stitch just like that. And we are grafting this together to make it look like it was always one. It's a Kitchener stitch. Okay, so I'm going to go pick up this one, these 2, just like that. And these 2, just like that. And then this is where I came out, so I'm going to pick up that one and the next one. And if you fold this over, pretend this is your stitch, just like that. There you go. That's the next one. And you pull it. Again, not really tight, but just to snug it up so the tension is even right across. I'm going to fold this over. I can see that this is the stitch that I came out of, so I'm going to pick that one up and the next one. This is where I had to tie on the waste yarn. I'm going to go in here, pick it up, just like going right through it, just like that. I think you get the idea of what I'm trying to do here. And pull it. Fold it up. Here's the stitch I was coming out of. So if I was to fold that and make it look like it's a V, like it's a stitch, I'm going to just go through it. Both bars. And here again, if I fold it to make it look like it's a stitch, just so you can see what I'm doing, here's where it's coming out. Just gonna go right across. And then I'm gonna just keep folding this inside of itself, or unfolding it, however you wanna look at it. And we keep going. Just like so. Here's where I'm coming out. I'm going to pick this one up and the next one. Oh, get out of my way. And then pick this one up and the next one. It's not hard. Watch exactly what I'm doing. Slow this down if you have to. Go up into the top right corner of the video, and there's 3 dots or 3 bars or whatever it is. Click on it and slow down the speed so you can see. But I'm basically, if you fold that so you see that it looks like a stitch, you're just going underneath both bars, just like that. I'll do that one more time here. I'm going to fold it so it looks like a stitch. I'm not actually folding it when I do it. I'm just doing it for your sake to see the visual. Here's the one that we're in. You fold that. There's my V-stitch. I'm just going to go under both bars. Friends, that's all you do. And you go all the way around till you get to the other set of bobby pins. And when I get close, I'll come back on, okay? But keep going in that like manner. We are coming up on the end. I just heard my oven beeping, so I had to run upstairs. Making a crustless quiche for supper in case you need inspiration. Yes, it's eggs, but it's for supper because my husband's at work today and he had a big lunch. So I just made a crustless quiche and it smells so good. Okay, we are going to finish up here. Oops. You're going to be so proud of yourself when you take this waste yarn off if you haven't done this before and if you did it right. Okay, we're going to pick that one up. And if you haven't done it before and this is your first time and you take it off and it doesn't work, if you followed exactly what I showed you, this is my bobby pin here. So I'm in the last stitch. If you did exactly what I showed you to, then I can take that out. It will work out. But if you think you did exactly what I showed you and it doesn't work out, don't give up. It's a small piece. It's a perfect one to retry. So then just make your panel again and try again. Don't give up. Once you learn it, you'll see how fun it is. I should have left the other bobby pins in. And here's the reason why. Because I got to figure out which is my first stitches here so I can join this. Let's get this out of the way and this out of the way. So if I pull on that, I think this is it right here. They're all caught up anyway, so if I misread that, then that's okay, but I'm going to pull it there. And then I'm going to take this off. I'm going to just put one little... So you're going into the first one and then catching up to the second one that you did where your bobby pins were, okay? I'm just going to put that little safety knot in there. Now we're going to pull off our waste yarn. So you're going to go up to either side. You're going to find where your tail is and it's coming from this direction. Like I can see here that this is it. You're going to just pinch the stitch at the very top and pull out the line. Go around, fold it up, pinch the stitch and pull up the very top. And do that all the way around till that top row is pulled out. I think learning a new stitch and being able to accomplish it well is something you should be proud of. Like this Kitchener stitch takes a lot of people, including myself, several tries before I even got it right. And so now I feel comfortable in it, except for that ending part because I took the bobby pins out. But I still think it's going to work out. But I don't think that there's a person out there who, when they did it the first or the second or even the third time, got it completely right. So if you're struggling at first, don't say, oh, this is too hard for me. Just do it again, because you know what, friends, once you get it, you're going to be so proud of yourself and you're going to find it very fun to do. Okay. I'm not taking too much care with this waist yarn here because I think that it's had its time. And you just keep pulling this out just like this. Okay. And you're going to do the same thing for that top one because remember we used waist yarn on both sides. I'm going to find the end. Come out wherever you are. There you are. And you're going to, you have to keep turning this tube so you can get in at this. And we're going to remove this one. First row all the way around. And then you're going to remove that waist yarn just like what I did with the other side. Exactly the same way, okay? And then I'll see you back. Now we got a little tube. There we go. Like, look at this. Okay, except for right here because I took my bobby pins out, but I also didn't, I think I actually got it pretty good. I'm going to knot this off and then I'll assess the situation because I'm not going to try to figure it out any better than that. I'm pleased with that. We're going to pop this on our needle and we're going to hide it in our work. Cut it off. And then this is the outcome. This is where we seamed it. Like, look at that. Isn't it beautiful? Love it. Now, turn it so that your little knot right there is on the inside. So just work it within itself to get that little tied off end on the inside. There we go. Set that aside. Grab your other piece and you're going to make sure that's all stretched out too. We're going to then flip up this side. You're going to look for your tail. So I've got the side here where the tail goes up, okay? And I'm going to put a bobby pin, a stitch marker. If I was to pull on this little purple loop here, it comes through this yellow one here, which is my first stitch. I'm going to pop my stitch marker onto there, okay? Then I'm going to take one and I'm going to go right to the left of it, and you'll see this working yarn is right beside that stitch that you need. Right there. Just so I know where my last two stitches are. We're going to fold this over so you can see those beautiful yellow loops. We know that there are 22 needles on this piece, so 11 and 12 are the very side stitches over here. I've got a piece of yarn on my needle. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. These are my first two stitches that I'm going to work. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go underneath 12, pull that through, leaving a tail, which I'm going to tuck under there. It's not in my way. And then I'm going to go under 11. I've just started my join these two stitches. So 1, 2, this is 3. So now I'm going to do the same thing we just did. It's coming out of this stitch, so I'm going to go back into that stitch and pick up the other one. That would be considered working stitch number 3. Come up to the top here. We're going to do the same thing. So if that was bent over like this, we're going to just pick up both pieces. That's 4. Make sure this doesn't cross over. Keep it in line. This is where it's coming out here. 5. There we go. And then back up to the top here. 6. This is where it's coming out. If you want to bend that to see your V. 7. Go back up to the top if you want to bend that to see your V. 8. And give it a little tug, not too tight. 9. 10. 11. So right across, just like that, when you bend it. 12, that might help you get it better. And I'm going to see my V there. This is 13. And my V is there. 14. I hope this visual helps you. If it did, put it in the comments. I'd like to know if doing it this way, showing you how to fold this over so you see the V and then going straight across and picking them up, if that was actually a help. I'd like to know if that was a help. Okay, and then we're going to continue on our merry way down to the end, and I might as well stay with you because I'm almost done. These bobby pins or stitch markers, whatever you use, are necessary because then you know for a fact you've made it to the end and you're not going to miss those 2 last stitches that can get quite tight as you get to the end. Okay, so now I'm in this one. I'm into my last stitch with that bobby pin. I can take that one out because I know I've caught it up. I'm going to go around to the up to this other side. I'm going to find that one that I came out of. See where I'm saying it's a little bit difficult because it's tighter. So I know this is it. So I'm going to look for that little bar that's hiding right there. And I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to take this stitch marker out. And I'm going to tie these 2 into a slip into a knot. I'll tie this one off after I get the waste yarn off. Okay. Then we're going to do the same thing. Roll it up, find that top row, pull it out. All the way around. And remove your waste yarn. I can tuck this tail into my work so it's not in my way. I show you how to do that in several other videos, but I'm not going to do it with this one. And look at this end. This is how I'm going to start closing all my scarves when I want a flat edge. Instead of taking my crochet hook and doing it, why wouldn't I do it this way? Tell me, why haven't I been doing it this way? Because look, it's just part of the work. Like it's, I don't know, you learn as you go, right? So that's what we're going to do. And you're going to do the exact same thing for this side. You're going to pull out your tails. You're going to put your stitch markers in where they belong. I see that my little tail is coming off of this stitch, so I'm going to pop in my stitch marker. I'm going to take the next one and I'm going to pop it into this one that's right to the left of it, and it's also attached to my working tail. I'm going to grab a piece of yarn. I'll get you started. Put it on my needle. We're going to find the 11th and the 12th stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I'm going to essentially just go through the 2 of them like that. Leave my tail. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to pick up this one. So that would count as 3 if you're counting, which you should. And 4. And 5. I'll do 2 more with you. And 6. And pull. Oops, I'm splitting that one. I don't want to split it. 7. And keep going across, tightening that to just the same tension as the rest. You look at it and you want to just keep that tension even. Don't pull it too tight. Work your way across and I'll see you at the end. Look for that last stitch that might be hiding. There we go. Pick up this one. Pull that out. Lots of tails here. Give this a tie. Remove your waste yarn just as we've done previously. And once that's done, I'll show you what to do next. Looking beautiful. Now we've got these ends tied off where there's 2, but this is where the tail of my yarn that I used to sew this together, I'm going to just pick up a strand on the corner there and knot it off. Do that twice. Then you're going to hide your tail into your work. Pull it out. Cut it off. Do that for this one. Take these two and hide it into your work. Take these two and hide it into your work. And we will move on from there. We've got our two beautiful pieces. They've turned out so good. Now, this is where the seam is. I mean, you can hardly tell it, but we're going to make sure that that goes in the back. And these two edges are the front. So I'm going to turn it like that. And what we're going to do is we are going to attach this piece to this piece, just so that this is coming around just like that, okay? So I'm going to just put this on its side like that. I'm going to put this one on its side like that. So if this is the middle back, because I want that seam there, then I just hold this up just like this and put it against it. Then I can just trail my hands back to the start and you should be in a good position, okay? We're going to take our yarn that's on our needle and we're going to take our needle. We're going to pick up, go into the center of that stitch, whichever one is lined up with the edge here. Pick up that bar and then the next bar, just like that for 2 stitches. Pull this through. I'm going to just tuck that yarn tail down there so it doesn't get in my way. I'm going to go up to this one. I'm going to make sure that the wide part of the V is also going to the left. You'll see that's for both of these rows. I'm going to go into this first one and I'm going to pick up 2. So 1, 2. Pull it through. I'm going to work my way around, staying on that same row. You can see the wide part of the V again is going to the left on both of these pieces. Here's where it's coming out. I'm going to go in there, pick up 1, 2. Here's where it's coming out. 1, 2. I'm not pulling it tight yet. I'll pull it tight when I get to the end. This is where it's coming out. So I'm going to go in there. 1, 2. Here's the stitch it's coming out of. I'm going to go into that stitch. 1, 2. And we're going to do that all the way to the end, which does not take very long. So 2, staying on that same row, and 2. This is fun. I love doing this. I truly, truly do. I didn't at one time. If you're new, I was where you were at one time saying, this is so frustrating. But it's actually not. Once you get it, you wonder why it was ever frustrating. Okay, so we're halfway there, and I'm going to take both tails, and I'm going to pull. And I have now seamed that together. It looks like it's never been apart. It looks like it's one. That's what you want. So now we're going to just rotate this a little bit. Find that same row that we were working on. Wide part of the stitch going to the left. Here's where I came out. I can see that right there. So I'm going to go in there, pick up the next one and the next one. Here's where I came out. I'm going to go in, pick up 2. And pick up 2. Friends, if this is old hat for you and you've done it millions of times, well, you probably won't hear me say fast forward because you probably already have done it. But if you haven't, fast forward and I'll see you when I get to the end. Because I'm going to stick with it for those who need me to. Okay, I'm going to go in where it came out and pick up 2. In where it came out and pick up 2. In where it came out, pick up 2. And again. And again. Oops, fell off my needle. And we're going to smooth this out so that same row is what we're following. And we're going to work our way to the last stitch. I have only, well, there's 2 there if I go to the very end, so I'm still going to pick up 2 here. And then I'm going to poke it into this one, and there's 1 there, but I'm going to come out the very end and make that 2. Then I'm going to take my fingers, and here's where we ended. I'm going to pinch that and pull the tail here to finish that off. Then I'm going to take this whole thing and stretch it just so there's not pulling in there. I want it to be nice and even. And you turn it around. Isn't that pretty? All right, from there, we are going to fix up these two ends. Okay, so I'm going to take this one end here, put it back on my needle, and then I'm just going to grab the edge here, oops, and sew it down. Just simply like that. One more time with a knot. Then I'm going to take this tail and I'm going to hide it into my work, pull on it, cut it off. I'm going to do the same with this side. I'm going to take the stitch there, come up. I'm not going to hide this one though, I'm going to leave it in case I need it. And we're going to tie off a knot and leave that just like that for now, okay? Actually, I don't need this anymore. I can actually hide this and pull on it. And at this point, you're still able to say, okay, am I going to use this as my front since I put my knots there? Or am I going to turn it this way and have that as the front? Because I didn't put my knots there. Either way works. So you choose which one looks best to you. From all angles, I still like it the other way actually, and it doesn't matter because you're not going to really see that. And from there, we are going to grab our 22 needle machine and this yellow color again, and we'll be right back with you. We are now going to make the base of our project. We're going to bring the last white and the first black needle in line with our yarn guide. We're going to take our working yarn, we're going to go in front of that first black, behind, in front, behind, all the way around, and cast on. When it's in front of that last white, you're going to pop, or behind that last white, we're going to pop close that yarn feeder. We're going to set our row counter to 0. Always go slow on the first round so that sometimes it snags. And we're going to do 18 rows. Okay. I'm on row 18. I see that black divider coming around. I know I need to quit. We're going to cut off a tail, open our latch, put it between the last white and the first black. Be sure to close that latch because then when you take off your stitches, you're not going to knock this open thing with your needles and break it, okay? So we're going to now cast off. I'm not going to stick with you for this whole thing either because we've done it. But make sure you knit this last needle, and then we're going to take off our available stitches. Go all the way around. The hard part of this project is done. And it really wasn't that hard, was it? It was just fun. Fun, fun, fun. Take off all your stitches and then come back and see me, and we'll move on and we'll make our eyes. Before we assemble the rest of this, we're going to do the eyes while we have our machine set up. You might not move your machine, but I move it all the time. I make something and then I move it and use this table to work on. I have that done. I'm going to stretch it out and I'm going to set it aside, and we're going to grab our white yarn for our eyes, okay? We're going to bring our last white first black needle in line, in front of that black, behind, in front, behind, all the way around, cast on just like what we've been doing. Open the feeder, pop that in there, set your row counter to 0. You are going to knit 10 rows. That's it, just 10 rows. Then you're going to cast off just like what we've done all along. Well, not all along, you're not going to use waste yarn, just like what we did with our yellow piece. So 10 rows, cut a tail, cast off, make 2. Okay, when you have your pieces done and you've grabbed yourself a snack, in my case it's peanut butter marshmallow squares. Oh, so good. A friend brought them over the other day. A big container of them, and they're almost gone. No surprise, but we're going to grab that little piece that we made for the base, and we are going to stretch it. Then we're going to pull on one side to tighten, smoothing that out as we always do. Put that tail onto your needle, and you're going to just reinforce this around once. So just go around that top row of stitches and reinforce this. Oh, that square is so good. Wonder how many of you are going to go and make peanut butter marshmallow squares now that you see me eating this. If you do, put it in the comments, let me know. I'm glad I could be an inspiration. Okay, we're going to tie this off. Pull that knot down with your thumb. Then you're going to pop this needle into the center and bring it through to the other side. Don't snag the inside. That's why I always grab it with my hand, which I didn't do now, and that's the reason why I do it, because then I don't snag it like I just did. We're going to pull that other side, making sure that tail is out. I'm going to leave it long even though it's in my way because we're going to use it for sewing. We're going to do the same thing with this side, but this one I don't need as long. We're going to reinforce around that center circle just one time. Go ahead and do that. When that is done, you can take the needle off that. You're going to pull on both of these so that you can make a little round circle out of these two. Pull the one end up to the other, tie real tight with a knot. I put 3 knots in here. That's 1, 2, and 3. Take this shorter one. Let's go ahead and hide that in our work. Get it out of our way, cut it off. Take the longer tail, put that on your needle. You're going to just feed it up to the side, to the very edge, okay? Once you flatten that out, and this is in the middle, you're going to just feed this up to the edge, any edge. And you're going to tie off in a knot. Just so that when you pull on it, it doesn't gather it in there. Now you have your base. You're going to take your piece, you're going to smooth it out so that you have your row with the wide part of the V going to the left. And you're going to straighten that out all the way around. We're going to pop this on. Actually, we're not going to really pop it on. We're going to just lay it beside it like that. So that's how I have it, okay? So it's on top, but you're going to work on the side. And you're going to grab 2 bars, just like what we did with the other 2 pieces. And then you're going to take a stitch like that, just 2 bars from that side. You're going to go in where you came out here, pick up 2 bars, and you're going to take that next stitch, just like that. The 2 bars of that next stitch. And we're going to work our way around. We're going to go in where we came out, pick up 2 bars, and pick up 1 stitch. 2 bars, 1 stitch, which is 2 bars. Smooth that out. And we're going to continue around. I'm going to stop every once in a while and pull that just to get it into place. Then position this. Because it's not going to be an equal 2 bars to a 2 bars. You're going to have to just put it like this. And then for this one, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick up those next 2. But then I'm going to move it over here. I think I'm missing this one and I'm going into this one. So you're just going to do about 10 stitches. Then you're going to pull it tight and you're going to assess where it's at just so that you can keep it straight. I'm going to go in there and pick it up. Go in. Pick it up. I'll do a couple more here. I'm going to pull this again, so I'm going to go to where I last left off, which is right there. Pinch it and pull. And I have a wonky area there, so I'm going to just work on that. Must have snagged it somewhere, so I'm going to just... I've got that little area there that I must have split a stitch, say that 10 times, and snagged it, so I'm going to just pull it back until I get to that area because that's not good for me. Let's give that another go. There we go. Yeah, I had split a stitch when I pulled it with my... When I passed my needle through, it snagged a stitch and then it wouldn't tighten. So just had to pull it back and fix it. That's fine. Okay, so we shall continue on our merry way around the circle, just assessing the situation every once in a while. Staying on that same row. Sometimes you may only have to pick up one bar on this side, not very often. I think for all these, I've made a few of these now, and I have been able to successfully pick up 2. But if it's not working out for you, then you just pick up 2 bars along this side, because this is a wider piece. And then sometimes you might only have to pick up 1 just to stay even there. Okay, and we're going to pull on that just like that, and you can see we're making our way around and it looks great. So continue doing that until you get to the end, knot it off and hide your end, and then we'll continue on. When you get to the end, before you knot it off, stretch this out, because if you put, when you're tightening this side, if you pull this too tight and you make this gathered in there, you don't want that look. So just make sure that it's nice and loose in there. Then I'm going to take this and finish off my last stitch there, and then I'll knot it off. I already stretched it out good so that this line that's going around there is not pulling. Okay, now I can take that and I can hide it in my work. Pull it through, snip it off. And you've got your base. Just like that. Isn't that so cute? So what you're going to do now is you're going to take another piece of yarn and you're going to put it on your needle, and we're going to gather this top part here. We are going to attach it to the end. So just pull it through. Tie a little knot. This short little end we're going to be hiding, of course. Then you're going to just smooth this out so you have that same row across the top, so it's not twisted. That little attention to detail makes a big difference. You're going to just go in and pick up 2, miss 2, pick up 2, miss 2, or 3, however it works out. Don't stress it, but we're just going to gather it. Just going in between those 2 layers. In between these stitches, but between this front and this back layer. Make sure you don't snag the sides as you go up, okay? Then coming out. Then what we're going to do is make sure that's smoothed out, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to gather that in. You are going to take this and tie it to that little tail that's left there. But you're going to leave just a small opening, nothing major, actually, just like, I don't know if you can see that really well, almost all the way, but not quite, because we want to slip in that little I-cord that we're going to make. So I'm going to tie that off. I'm going to right away hide this short one, and then we're not finished with that other one yet. We're going to take this one. I'm just going to pop it in there. Get rid of my tails whenever I can. I cannot stand tails hanging around and getting in my way. Just bugs me, so I don't do it. We're going to put that back on our needle, and we're going to seam this down just a little bit, not far, okay? So I'm going to just attach this better right there. And I'm going to go down, pick up 1 row of stitches there, 1 row there, just by picking up 2 bars, And this is 2 and 2. This is the 3rd row and the 3rd row and 1 more. 4 and 4. I'm going to pinch that at the top. I'm going to pull that so that it's closed. I'm going to then take this and I'm going to tie it off in a knot. Just like so. I'm going to take that into the center of my work. Up to the top, actually, just through the, between the 2 layers, bring it up to the top. Then I'm going to bring it around that top row, just so I'm trying to work it to the back, just like that. This is now the back, but I'm gonna just let it sit there. But to sit there with a little knot in it so that it doesn't gather anything. So 1 little knot, oops. Now that's in the back, ready for me to use again. I'm gonna just, it's way too long. Just let that sit there. This is what our piece looks like so far. We're going to grab our eyes. Set that aside, grab your eyes. Stretch this out. Every piece, no matter how big, how small, needs to be stretched out. Then you're going to pull this one end tight. Doesn't matter which end you choose first. Smooth out the layer as you pull it tight. Just like so. Put that on your needle. Go around and reinforce that top row of stitches just once. Once is all you need. Just like so. And pull that tight. Then I'm going to just tie 1 tiny little knot over 1 strand. Bring this guy through the center. Because even though this is a small piece, we are still going to, well, we're going to tie up this one first, but we're going to make a little disc out of this, just like we did before, and then we will gather the top to form the eye. I'll show you in 1 second, okay? But first, let's just go ahead, go around this once. You know what? This part right here, reinforcing this part, probably doesn't matter. It's on the inside, but I just have a habit of doing it. I think it just gives it a little bit of extra stability, so you can choose whether you're going to do this part on the inside or not, but I'm going to just go around once. Just like that. Take these 2 tails and I'm going to tie a firm knot so that both layers come up to really close to each other. Take that shorter one, pop it through, cut it off. I'm going to now take this tail, smooth this out so it's all nice and perfect. I'm going to feed it up to the side, tie a knot so that I don't gather it. It's ready to go. Then we're going to work along the very edge. We're going to go over a row, under a row, over, under, smoothing out as you go, over, under, all around the perimeter of this little disc. And then we're going to have a cute little eye. But you need to grab your safety eyes, okay? If you don't have black safety eyes and you don't want to use them, then you can just use black yarn and make them, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it, okay? We're going to come all the way around. Am I all the way around? Nope, not so. Not yet. Okay, but before I tighten that, I'm going to grab my safety eyes and I'm literally going to grab Elmer's glue. You can use a hot glue gun. Some of you don't have a hot glue gun, so I'm doing something different here. I'm going to pop this eye through that center And it can be very hard to do if you close it as tight as I closed it. And just push that down. Note to self, don't close your centers quite so tight. But you can get it through just like that, okay? Now these, it's not quite through the center at the back, but it's the center at the front. These are supposed to go down so that that circle part goes over the circle, but there is not enough room for me to do that. And I think I get a better grip if I put it upside down like that. Then I can push and I can get it way down. If I put it so that that circle part, the concave part, goes down, then I'm getting yarn in between there and it's harder to even push it further down. So I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to take this glue and I'm going to fill that little disc with glue. And I'm going to take my fiber fill. I'm going to stuff it in there. When that glue dries, it will harden around that little disc and it is not going to come off. This is not a toy anyway, so it's not going to come off. I don't know, it might be a toy. You might use it, give it to somebody as a toy, but that's how we're going to do those eyes. You can use hot glue gun if you want. This is actually the first time I've used Elmer's glue for this, but I think it'll work perfect. I have no doubts that it's going to dry and it's going to be hard. I pushed that little disc down so far that it's not going to come off anyways. I'm pretty confident, but I always like to give it a little extra security. We're going to tie this tight, just like so. Again, I don't know what size these safety eyes are. I'm so sorry. You have to use what you like to use, but I think I buy these on Amazon and there's a whole big pile of them. I think they're like an 8. My guess is they're an 8mm eye, 8 or a 9. I think something like that, but it's small. Go ahead, make your second eye just like that one, and then meet me back. Once you have that part done, this cracks me up. I think it's so cute. You're going to take the one that has the shortest yarn strand. These are both long, and you're just going to take one and hide it. Get rid of it. Get it out of your way. Take the other one. The other one you're going to trail up to the side, just like that. Just poke it up the side. Then you're going to take your other eye and you're going to grab a piece on the side. Just like that. And then you're going to just sew them together. Grabbing a stitch and a stitch. Just to secure. And now they're secure. It doesn't matter if one's down like that. Actually, you can figure out how you want to do it. That would actually look cute. I'm going to do it for one of them. Actually, the other one that I did, I made them straight, but this one I'm gonna make it crooked. Okay, and let me just knot this off. See how easy it is? You don't even pay attention to where you're putting those stitches because you just want it to to be like that. Then you're gonna stick this on. Oh, I laugh because it is funny. I get a charge out of stuff like this. I'm going to actually take this. If they're sideways like this, I'm going to just take this to the back and I'm going to pick it up just right across there just so I can get this onto the back. And then I'm going to pick up right there. Here's where my peak is. I'm going to just go right above it and pop those on. And then we're going to come back down into our body or our head and come up into the middle there. Come back down. I'm not going straight through so you don't see any white there. I'm just going part way through. Just like that. This is the last one I'm going to do because it's not going to come off. And I'm going to go back up into the eye, trail it back up to the top here, because now that I have them where I want them to be, I'm going to actually sew them down a little bit at the top. So I've got this up at the top. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the head and then pick up a bit above the eyes just to give it a little bit more security, okay? Pick up a little bit more. I don't want to snag that there. And a little bit on the eye. I'm going to do maybe one more just like so. That secures that eye. I'm going to trail this back through to the center. And I'm going to do the same thing to this eye. Sorry, I can't get a good angle on this. Pick up a little bit of the head. And a little bit of the eye. You don't want to see the white line across there. So if you back it up 2 seconds and you see how I pulled that, it came together, that's okay, that's what you want. You don't want to see the line. And I'm going to just do one more maybe. Don't need too many. You just want to secure it. And I'm going to tie a knot. Oh, these are so fun to make. They do not take long. Once you have the row counts down, you will whip off a pile of these. There we go. And there we go. We're not finished at the top yet. Cross-eyed little guy. Now I'm going to take this one again. I'm going to, if this is the back right here, okay, I'm going to string this over to the side here. Well, not really string it, but I'm going to take it there. Then I'm going to come over to this side and just grab a piece, and I'm going to pull it together. And I'm going to do that again. Go a little further, one more stitch further, and one more stitch further, and pull it. I'm just making more of a point in the back, but I don't want to do it too much that you have like a big dip in there. But now that I've gone twice there, I'm going to just come down a little. I'm going to just squeeze that together and just come down a very, very little bit. Tie that off. I have a little bit of a formation in there, but I've got that a little bit more pointy at the top, and that was my goal. Okay, and then I'm going to knot this off. It's not pointy, but it's not square. And then I'm going to hide this, cut it off, and we got a good start on them. Now we have to do our fringe, and we also have to do our little antennas. So for me, I'm going to use my Clover Wonder Knitter. I have the Addi egg. This is my favorite. This has become, I just love this little thing. So I'm going to grab my yellow yarn. I'm going to cast on with you. So you pop that down into the middle. I'm just going to hold that for security. And then I'm going to go, I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going to turn it from right to left. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the right of that first needle, and I'm going to go around. Then I'm going to turn it this way and go to the right and around. To the right of that needle and around. I'm going to push that down. I'm going to pop that into my tensioner. I need to grab, 1 second while I grab my loom pick. And then I'm going to just la-di-da-di-da-di. I count by threes because I want to make sure I have, that's 1 and 2, because there's 3 needles, 2 and 3. So that's row 1. I'll just show you what I do for my practice, okay? And then I'm going on to row 2, so I go 2, 2, 2, and 3. You might think I'm weird, but this is what I do. 3 and 3. I wouldn't worry about it. I do it for you, my friends. You know why? Because someone will say, how many rows? And I can now tell them this is 4, 4, and 4. I am going to do 40 rows. All right, so you keep going. And if you don't have a Wonder Knitter, maybe get one. They're not that expensive. Order them on Amazon. If you have an Addi egg and you'd rather use that, go ahead. This is 6, 6. I better stop and talk to you. 6. And then you just pull it down as you go along. And you're going to do that for 40 rows. If you don't have one of these, you don't have any intention of buying one, you can also just crochet a little antennas there if you want, or use your creativity and figure out what you would like to do. Use those wire, what do you call them? I use them on my Yip Yip. I have the big Yip Yip, what do you call them? Pipe cleaners. I don't know why they're called that. Pipe cleaners that you can use, I guess because back in the day, men used them to clean their actual smoking pipes. That's why. A little bunny trail there, but you can use those for the antennas instead. Go look at my adult Yip Yip, and you can, the big Yip Yip that I made, and you can attach them much the same way. Or if you don't want to do it this way, then just be creative and figure something out that works for you. But if you want to use your clover knitter or your spool knitter, get an old thread spool, put 3 nails in it, do the same thing. Trust me, it works. We had them as kids. And make yourself one that is 40 rows. And when you have that done, I will come back and cast off with you. All right, friends, have fun. I made 40 rounds. And another reason why I love this clover, like, it just makes such a beautiful size, pretty cord. And you don't have tuck stitches or wonky stitches like you can get on the Addi. This one, because you can completely control it, I recommend it highly. Okay, so now I cut my tail. What I'm gonna do, it's coming off of this needle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift up this next one. Let's get this around here so I'm not fighting with that. I'm gonna take my hook, go from the top of that loop down to the bottom. I'm gonna scoop up that yarn tail and bring it through. I'm gonna turn this. I'm gonna lay it underneath that loop, scoop up and bring it through. Turn this, and for the third one, I'm gonna lay it underneath. Go from the top of that loop down, scoop it up, bring it through. Now I can take them all off. And I've got a beautiful, beautiful cord. What you're gonna do now is you're going to take that tail and you're gonna put it into the center of that cord. Pull it out, cut it off. Do the same with this end. Pull it through, cut it off. Now what you're gonna do is you want it to be exactly in half, just like that, okay? Then we're going to tie a knot all the way into the middle. Try and keep it as much in the middle as you can. And the reason for that knot is so that it doesn't come through that little hole that we've left there. We're going to take these two and we're going to feed them up. You can do it with your fingers if you've left enough space, or you can take a crochet hook, which is what I had to do for the other one. Pop it down there. Even hook it right into there, just like that. Pull it through and pull both of those through. That knot is not going to go through. It looks nice, not that you're going to see it anyways, but it's not going to, they're not going to be able to come through. Then those little antennas just hang there. Love it. Okay, now what we're going to do, oops, I don't like this part, so we're going to cut that off. Now all we have to do is we're going to make the little loop to hold this up, and we're going to make our fringes, but we're going to do the fringes first. So what we're going to do for that is we are going to take a piece of cardboard. That's what I'm using. And I want a 9-inch fringe. That's the size that I found looked really nice. So I tried different lengths of fringes and I like a 9-inch fringe, which means I need to have a piece of cardboard that is 4.5 inches from here to here, because when I wrap it around, it becomes 9 inches. So we're going to take our yarn, we're going to wrap it around this 4.5 inch wide cardboard. Just like so. Don't go sideways like this, because then it becomes more than 9 inches. Just keep going back and forth just like this. Okay, that should be enough to start. I'm going to cut that off. And all you have to do, this one piece will be a wrong length and you'll throw that. But all you got to do is make one cut. You can make it there. You can make it there. It doesn't matter where you make your cut because you're just making one. And when you take your cardboard off, you now have a 9-inch fringe. That 9-inch fringe becomes a 4.5-inch fringe when you put it on. So I said 9-inch fringe, but it's actually 4.5-inch fringe. It's a 9-inch piece. So I'm going to put this in half just like that with my loop like that. I want to take, you can start anywhere, but we're going to go along this very bottom edge. You're going to pick up 2 bars of that stitch. You're going to grab the loop and bring it through. And then you're going to just take those 2 ends and pull it through. The reason why you want to, let me just do this one more time. Take your hook and go from the bottom up, and I'm going to miss one stitch and go into the next one. So every second stitch. The reason why you go from the bottom up is because then when you pull your loop from the top, like top, meaning up where the eyes are, and you pull it down, when you stick your fingers through there and pull this through, the front of that little ridge that you can't see very well, but there's a little ridge that goes over top. It's at the front. It's at the top instead of underneath. So that's why it's very important when you put your fringe on. That one's too short. When you put your fringe on, every second stitch along that bottom row, you go from up or from down here that way. Just follow exactly what I'm doing. And then you stick your fingers in there and you pull that through and you let it hang. So our 9-inch piece of yarn has become a 4.5-inch fringe. Love it. Every second stitch along that bottom row is what you're going to pick up. Put your fingers in that loop, or you can leave your hook there and just go around like that and pull it through with your hook. I'll do one more with you. Miss one, go into the next one, pull it through. I'm going to do that every second stitch all the way around the base. There you go. His antennas are like that. Oh, this is so cute. I love them. Fill them with whatever you want, but we still have to figure out something. You know, I've made another one, which you've seen before. Here's the other one. But I haven't figured out how I'm going to do the top part yet. I'm going to think about that for a little bit longer, and then I'll get back and we'll do it. Well, you'll see it in the very next clip, but I'm going to stop and think about it before I make a decision on how we're going to hang this little guy. Here's what I decided to do. I decided to make another cord, same length, 40 rows. Okay, so we're going to take that cord. We're going to take a double strand of yarn. And we're going to put that on our needle. We're going to put one end through the center here. One end right through the center here, and let it come through that little piece that you tied a knot there too, and that'll help hold it. Bring it through. Then you're going to take this little piece here that you made, and we're going to lay it over that yarn tail so it's in the middle. Then I'm going to take this other yarn tail, and it's coming up through the middle of this one. I'm going to go back down into this work, come out into a different spot on that little knot. Then I'm going to take these 2 ends and I'm going to tie them really tight. Double strand, because then when you hang it, it's not going to break, okay? And you can do even 3 knots. 2 is enough, but I'm going to do 3. Put this back on your needle. Turn this inside out a little bit so you can get underneath there, and then hide your tail on both sides. And one more. I like this all one color. That's just how I've been inspired to make these, is to do one color. Again, you use your imagination and make them how you like. You can make the strap a different color. You can make the what do you call them, tentacles a different color. And when you're not hanging it, then you've got 4 of these. But when you are hanging, take 2 that go in the front, and then they hang nicer over the face. And then these other 2 are the ones you're going to use for tying over whatever thing you want to tie it over. And then he hangs. There we go. That's how I decided to do it. But again, the options are limitless. You can do it however you like. There's the basic pattern. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I think they're just absolutely adorable. This was so fun to make. Aren't they just like the cutest little thing? I mean, kids and adults will like these. I have an old pastor who, well, he's not old, but he was a previous pastor who I gave an ad, like the bigger Yip Yips to, and he said he hangs it on his wall and he puts all his receipts in there. Like, how fun is that? You could do that with this little one too. I saw online that the crocheted one was hung on a rear view mirror. And you throw coins in there. What a great idea. So many wonderful little ideas for this. Put a gift card in there and give it to somebody. Like the options are limitless and it's just so cute. So have fun making them, my friends. I can't wait to see the ones that you do. So join me in my Facebook group or tag me if you're in other Facebook groups and I would love to see what you make. Thanks again. Have a great day and we'll see you in the next tutorial.